Todd Monken went on the Ryan Ripken show and cleared the air about his relationship with Lamar Jackson, Harbaugh's relationship with Lamar Jackson, and just how this season went overall in his time in Baltimore. We'll talk about that. Monken and Zach Orr both essentially say their goodbyes. Zach Orr put up an Instagram post, so they are officially not going to be in Baltimore anymore. And the Ravens continue to stack head coach interviews. They already interviewed Clint Kubiak this morning, and they have scheduled Cliff Kingsbury, Robert Saleh, and Joe Brady in addition to all of the names that we talked about yesterday. We're talking all that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So Todd Monken went on to the Ryan Ripken show yesterday. Shout out to Ryan Ripken and Kevin and Zach and everybody over there as well, man. Great interview. They've always shown me love too, so just want to show them love. Make sure you go check out the entire Todd Monken interview. It is an absolute gem, and he really spoke on a lot of reports and what happened in Baltimore and players' frustrations, his relationship with Lamar Jackson. He cleared the air on a lot of things, and I love Todd Monken, man. He's always so transparent, and there's been a lot of dancing reports. You know, earlier this week, I showed a clip from Jeff Zrebiec, who was on the Ravens Collective, and he was kind of echoing what Ian Rappaport and Deanna Rossini were saying about, you know, there was some tension between Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson, and then you got Lamar's camp coming out and saying that this is false. And then now you have Todd Monken coming out directly and saying that there was no issues between him and Lamar Jackson and no issues between Lamar and Harbaugh or really any of the players and coaches outside of general frustration throughout a normal season. Obviously, you know, if you catch a player off a certain game where they're not happy about their usage or just how that play calling went in that particular game, maybe they vent their frustrations at a certain time, but that's not how they feel overall over this past 3 years that Todd Monken's been here. So he kind of cleared the air on a lot of this, and I'll play the clip that he talks about Lamar, but really nice to hear this from Todd Monken.
Lamar and I, to me, had a good relationship. Mm-hmm. Could it have been better? Of course. Lamar and I never had an issue. I don't know where that comes from. John, I never saw Lamar and Coach Harbaugh not have a great relationship. I never saw that. I never saw Coach Harbaugh and any of our players not have a great relationship. Never, not one time. So any of that would be news to me, but I don't know how people feel. You can't get all the credit when we do well and just exonerate yourself from the blame when it doesn't go that way. That is so ridiculously like out there that I can't even live in that world. I can't live in that world. I haven't gotten to where I'm at living in that world. I haven't. You know what? I didn't coach Lamar well enough. I didn't have as good a relationship as I could have. I didn't do the things that we needed this year to win enough games to give ourselves a chance. And I believe that. I'm not just saying that because I'm on your show and I'm going to fight like hell to fix it. I'm going to fight like hell for the next job I get. And I'm going to root like hell for the Ravens.
I don't know where all these reports are coming from. They're conflicting as well. You got Schefter, you know, refuting what Ian Rappaport's saying that Harbaugh lost the locker room. Schefter saying, no, he didn't. And there's so many different reports, which is odd from the mainstream reporters and even Jeff Zrebiec, you know, like this is a pretty credible Ravens report outside of everybody that usually talks about the Ravens. I mean, Jeff Zrebiec's one of the most consistent guys. Usually he has decent information. He's very close to the team. And then when it makes its way to Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, you're like, okay, like there's got to be some truth here or somebody saying something. And maybe there is deep down, but I think it's more about what Todd was saying is like in certain pockets of moments. When someone has a really bad game or not their best play calling performance, and then you are asking players in the locker room directly after that game like how you feel, and they're just frustrated, and then you run with that story as that's the overall narrative of what is always going on and what everyone thinks is just not true. You know what I mean? It was captured in that moment. And Todd Monken used a great comparison with his wife. He's been married for decades, and he's like, you know, there was many times throughout these 30 years that if you would have asked my wife at a certain moment like what she thinks about me, she might have not very nice things to say, but overall overall, that's not the case. You know what I mean? It's just in that moment. And there could be some of those moments. Like, players could have been frustrated. Todd Monken even says that coaches have been frustrated and probably said things about players behind the scenes, but they don't leak it to the media. So I think that was the mistake there, is some players are just venting too much in the moment to the media, and that's not actually how they feel overall. Playoffs are here. Meaningful football is here. There's a ton of incredible matchups this week, and this year I've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook to bring you guys an amazing offer. New customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. That's right. New customers turn $5 into $300 if your bet wins. Paid in bonus bets. The crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays for a shot and an even bigger payout. And make sure when you're signing up to use my promo code TFR. This is probably getting talked about too much, but I believe Todd Monken. You know, you've had a million different reports sending you in different directions. It's kind of hard to believe exactly what's going on, but Todd Monken's always been a straight shooter, really has no reason to lie at this point, and I take him for his word, man. And I think this entire narrative of, you know, what happened and the players don't like this, and this is why Harbaugh was fired, I don't think there's one thing. I just think it was time for a fresh voice, and Harbaugh's going to be excited about his new adventure. Monken's going to be excited about his new adventure. Zach Orr is going to be excited about his new adventure, and the Ravens can get a fresh start and new voice in there as well. I think this is a win for all sides, and it doesn't have to have some drama-filled exit. And you know, it wasn't too bad, because Monken says in this interview that he really expected to run it back, essentially. I think him and Harbaugh, they thought the staff was coming back. They were coming back, and Monken said that we were very close, and we've done some great things over the last 2 years. It's not like they had a bad offense, and they were super close to getting things back on track. You know, it fell off tracks after Lamar got injured. They got it back together towards the end of the year. They all thought they were just going to run it back. But obviously, Steve Bisciotti went a different direction and decided to move on from everybody. And we are going to hear from Steve and Eric DeCosta on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. They officially are hosting a press conference, and that is going to be a highly anticipated press conference. We haven't heard from Steve Bisciotti, at least to the media, not in a controlled environment. We haven't heard from him in 6 or 7 years. So this is a big deal, man. And you're going to get, you know, his thoughts behind the scenes a little bit, or at least just what's on his mind, what direction this team might go in. I think a lot of details are going to be revealed, at least as much as he wants you to know, but he'll explain something, you know what I mean? We'll get more information on Tuesday, so I can't wait for that. We also officially got a goodbye from Zach Orr on Instagram. He said, excited for what's next. God is good all the time. And Monken talked about departing in that interview as well, so they are both officially gone. It is no head coach and no coordinators. We are bringing in a completely new staff to the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm excited to see what direction we go in, man. The Ravens have a ton of interviews that they have scheduled. They have already officially interviewed Broncos defensive coordinator Vance Joseph, Broncos pass game coordinator Davis Webb, and then this morning they officially interviewed Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. Still to be scheduled is Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores, Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy, ex-Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver, and this morning they added Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady to that list. Ravens are casting a very wide net, and like I said in yesterday's video, these are just Zoom interviews, so why not? Why not talk to as many head coach candidates as possible? And it doesn't seem that they have an exact direction whether they want to go with just an offensive-minded head coach or a defensive-minded head coach. They're interviewing everybody right now, but what will be really telling is who starts to come back in-house for second interviews, in-person interviews. I think that will be telling of, you know, who they really like. And once we narrow that group down, we'll have a better idea of which direction they're going to go in. We're also going to have a better idea when Steve and Eric speak on Tuesday. You know, it'll be nice to hear what his thoughts are, because we haven't heard from the owner. So definitely excited to go in a new direction and see, you know, who this new head coach is and who this staff is going to be. I don't think it's going to take terribly long. Within the next month, they should have this figured out, because you want to start attacking free agency and the draft and start really making a lot of decisions on how to build this team properly and how to build up this roster. I know we need to attack the trenches. That's an obvious, but this new coach is going to have new ideas and you're going to be able to build a team specific to what their plan is, so it's not going to be the same. Everything that you've known about the Ravens for the last 18 years, besides maybe organizational stability, but everything you've known from a schematic standpoint or just a play style, like that could potentially change in a big way here. That, a new coach, a new mind, a new voice, it's going to look different. And I think that will be better for the Ravens moving forward. So exciting times, interesting times. We're in uncharted territory. It's weird to even be excited about anything. The fact that we just missed the playoffs and football's still going on this weekend and we're not a part of it. But all of a sudden everything's like interesting and hopeful again, because it's like, oh man, like we're going to get a whole new coaching staff. Like at least it's going to be interesting. Like let's see what happens. You know what I mean? I expect it to lift this team, but I'm just saying regardless, this is such a new experience for all of us Ravens fans. It's been so long since we've got a new coach and made this big of a change. So this is going to be a brand new era in Baltimore, and this offseason is definitely going to be crazy, man. But appreciate you guys being here with me, rocking with me through all these videos, supporting the videos, and just going along for the ride. We'll be here all offseason into next year, and I think this offseason is going to fly by, man. There's a lot going on. But let me know what you guys are thinking about this coaching staff. Who do you want the Ravens to hire? Let me know what you're thinking about everything that Todd Monken said. If you haven't watched that full interview, definitely head over to the Ryan Ripken Show and watch that. But I appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the Flock Rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.